Naya. Okay. Alright. It's baking time! No one's chatted yet.
No, I'm just making sure that it's working.
Oh yeah,
You'll pop once you pop on. Like refresh. There you go. Oh yeah, wait till you're on. There you go.
Nice fun music, huh? Alright. I know. You could turn the volume off if you want, because it's gonna get weird. That's what I do, because it's like I want to like hear myself as an echo, and it's just like I'm not here for it. Anyway, for those watching, so I don't know if anyone's popped on yet, I have baby Zericho in my pocket. I just showed him. I will in a second. There I am coming in. Anyway, my mom is helping me moderate the chat or tell me when things are going on because I cannot see. My hair's gonna get in the food. So that's what's going on. So we are making a funfetti cake because those are my favorite. I don't know how to make it, and that's what's gonna make it fun. Okay, so I need grams to measure the flour. Yep, it's on. Flour is heavy. I'm just sprinkling it in and I'm just like crawling up numbers. To like rewatch this and see what silly music's playing that I can't hear. Exactly. Alright. That's what we need. Off. Back in. Alright. Then bacon. Drop. Okay.
Is it froze? No, you're froze. You're not froze right now. That's okay.
Yeah, it might be some buffer and stuff.
Maybe I could use the chair on.
Go for it.
Grab your stuff.
Oh yeah, not bad. We can just like push it like under the island. There's space. Alright. Got the flour sifted, and then I think that's when I add things.
Yeah, the sugar, salt, and soda, which is mixed together already. I think.
Happy days. Yeah, so if I add the sugar, baking soda, and salt, awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm putting. The stuff.
Mix it with the mixer.
does it say to like mix? It says sift the flour in the mixing bowl
Yeah.
and then add the.
Yeah, just mix it together.
Okay. We'll make it work. Alright, and then add the milk, oil, vinegar, and vanilla, and use a hand whisk to just combine. Yes.
Art Wing says tag yourself on the strainer.
Love that for you, Dart. Whatever that might mean.
Rebelicious is like, no, it's just her that's trying to freeze, and don't worry about her, she'll be fine. She'll figure
Okay.
it out.
We can figure it out, friend. Bunch of cashews. Vanilla.
For consistency, darling.
Yeah, for those just popping in, my mom is reading the chat for me because I am blind in every conceivable way. This is very liquidy.
That's actually not too bad. Mix it so the lumps are gone.
Okay. It says mix until just combined.
Okay, well then you're done.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then you add the sprinkles and fold in gently.
Okay.
Alright, we will fold gently. Fold gently. Batter off. It's very interesting. This batter does not call for any eggs, so or egg replacement really, because it's a vegan recipe. So interested to figure it out. By the way, yes, I'm making a vegan cake. For those that are not familiar with my vegan cooking shenanigans.
Rebelicious. By the way, seeing the daylight on live, well, it's almost midnight here, is really, really disturbing to me.
I am so sorry, Rebel, for confusing your poor brain and Venus, because apparently that's where you live now. Alien. Kidding, I love you. Yeah, no, I've had that happen with other friends where it's like, they live across the country, and it's nighttime for them, but they have a lamp on, and I think that's the sunlight, so I still think they're in daytime. And they're like, no, I'm about to go to bed. I'm like, but the light. You're in the light. I'm confused. Alright, so if I add the sprinkles and fold in gently, Mom, do I just add them all and fold them in?
Sprinkle them on top and fold them
Okay.
straight.
I'm like, I'm trying to mimic a British baker, and you're turning into Gollum, and I'm not sure what's happening anymore.
Precious.
That is how I'm feeling about this cake. It is not bad. Alright, that looks...
Just kind of just fold it in a few times.
Yeah, I think that's combined. So then, pour it into the pan. And I screenshotted different baking times for a 9x13, because technically this recipe you are supposed to divide it, but you can also do it in one pan, which is what I'm doing because I'm not here for layered cake shenanigans. I want one cake and make it easy. Like, it's not that hard, but it's still gonna like waste some of my frosting. And it's not about that. Take some. Put it in the oven, and I'm gonna check my screenshot.
Here.
What?
Rebel says, "Shh, I'm a human. I'm not from Venus. Nope, I don't see. Nope, I don't see what you're talking about. I'm 100% human being of water, flesh, and bone, such doing normal human stuff like breathing. No alien body in here."
That's convincing, Rebel. I'm sure you are. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll go along with that.
We'll play your little games. Let's see, where is that? Yes. I would check it about the 22-minute mark of the toothpick. Alright, that's gonna take time. Alright, so we're gonna put it for 22 minutes. Check it. Might do 25 minutes. We'll find out.
FBI doesn't know yet. And therefore I answered with, I believe that, cough cough. Love that. 22 minutes is all for that big of a pan? If you put it in a bigger pan, it's take longer?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. We're gonna find out. That's what the person who made the recipe wasn't entirely sure on times. Just you might as well check it at 22 minutes and see. It might need longer. Just kind of check it.
You'll need longer. I'm sure about 30 minutes plus. Okay. Okay.
Alright.
Resettle.
Yeah, I'm trying to think when I want to make the frosting, because I don't want to make the frosting and then have it like deflate.
No, you're gonna wait. You're gonna make it like right before you put that.
Okay. Because I want to make sure I can make some of the colors, but I'm trying to limit my colors, so I don't think I'll need too much.
You might make it on your break.
Yeah, I might do that. But I'm also want to eat dinner. So
that's a toss up then. You might just spend your time decorating, making colors.
okay.
You know?
No, I should be good. Now that we are waiting for cake shenanigans. Anyway. What?
I'll be in the picture for the I hate that. I put these away.
I will lower it down so Tiny Zerico is the only thing anyone sees. Let me get the chat on my phone because I don't know if anyone's saying anything right now. Ow. Let me check my pop-out chat. What's mukbang? I feel like I've heard of that, Dart, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. Can add mud into the cake. No, we're not making a mud cake today. But you don't know that. Okay. Okay, bye. Love you too. Cake batter. That's where people eat food on camera, like YouTube. That's what that is. I probably won't do that, only because a part of my fibro is a lot of occupational therapy, and part of that is being just very, like when you eat, being very aware of what you're eating, focusing on sensations that kind of like help your body calm down, because fibro is like constantly at 100 of everything. So trying to calm down, kind of like a meditative eating. So I probably won't eat on camera, except for the cake when we're done with that. But yeah, otherwise I would, because again, there's a lot of lore I still want to talk about, which we're going to in a second here. Kind of ASMR, kind of both. I'm not making mud cake today. That implies it's a possibility. Listen, I loved making mud cakes as a child. In a sense of actual mud. I just like play with mud. You don't know what I'm gonna do. I do love chocolate cake, so I would make like a mud cake impersonation. 100%. Alright. Well, I finished looking this off. We're gonna go in 2018 of lore, or like wrap up some of the 2016, because there's some like story stuff I didn't get into. Alright. So that's washed and soaking. Tastes really, really good. I'm so excited. I don't get cake often, because sugar also flares my fibro, including all-purpose flour, like when it's not, like unbleached is better, but it's definitely still like, it just kind of flares my pains, but it's like, this is a treat day, I am treating myself to pain, and delicious cake. So that's what we're doing. Best cleaning method, ongoing. I did the same in our mom baked cake. Yep. Lick all this stuff, and then you're good to go. But yeah, so let me quick switch our thing here to this. We're gonna go to minicam. Alright. By the way, I can't hear the music, so I hope the music's fitting whatever's playing right now, because I don't know. But a cool thing I want to talk about, me drinking my milk ice cream while you look cake better. We are bonding. We are one. But yeah, so with 2016, some story stuff, because I forgot to go into that. So huge thing, Zeriko's trying to find his identity. He doesn't have his dragon, so he has powers, because he interacted with the dragon once and the dragon ran away or something. And I don't know how it works with lore, with the spirit dragon things. For those that just jumped on and don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay, I don't either. 2016 is a time, and this is where we left off, by the way. There's lore back to 2009, so we're now the story's in a rescrap. So if you haven't watched the previous streams or weren't there, that's totally fine. This is kind of just the story is finding its new footing. But yeah, in 2016, so basically the story, so Bono's on the government council, God knows why. Back then, I guess it kind of made sense, also it doesn't. But he and Zeriko are roommates, and the interesting thing with that is they were roommates not by choice. In the current comic, they are roommates by choice. But they weren't in this one. They were like it was like assigned roommates, like they had to be, sort of thing. It was a whole thing, and they did not, they compromised in the sense of Bonehole gave up trying to keep Zeriko organized and orderly, because Bonehole, shockingly, was an organized, orderly character in 2016, and that just faded away the more he got close to Zeriko. Apparently now he is also a disaster. He's a bit more organized only because he's a minimalist, in the sense of, like, he just doesn't bond much with objects and material things unless Zeriko gives them to him, then they mean a lot. And like, Zeriko has, like, a hoard of all kinds of stuff. Back then, that was a big discrepancy, and so they had a hard time living together, but eventually it worked out. But the story thing, I think that Zeriko was trying to get in the Savani Council, and he is a Savani, whatever Godfire thing, I think. I'm not sure what it meant in 2016, but it meant something. Oh, it's 420. Hey, I missed it by a minute. I'm so mad. I just looked at the chat. OMG, they were roommates. Dabs in both directions and smack myself in the face. Bless. Yes, 420 blaze it. Anyway, so Zeriko was trying to get Savani Council, but he had this taboo heritage, like his dad was something bad or whatever, I don't know. Again, DP still have the pure white skin and Zeriko doesn't, and that's a thing I decided to write. I didn't know how to write very well being a white person. So that was a whole thing. But yeah, so Zeriko tried Savani Council, and they turned him down because of that. I think it was just because of that. Like, Zeriko still has, like, struggles being noticed in the current comic, but it's for different reasons. It wasn't until 2018 that Zeriko's taboo heritage kind of died off and DPs were finally free to just, have any skin tone, because that should be fine. And when you get into the history of the world, it makes more sense and it's better overall. But Zeriko's trying to get Savani Council, they denied him, and it was really heartbreaking for him because he was trying to prove himself all this time. That was still a part of his story, and he was rejected, and he came back crying. But this is a point where Bonehole and Zeriko, they were comfortable around each other, but not quite. They still had unresolved conflict, and that was a big part of the story, was resolving that, because in their past, Bonehole was shutting himself out from Zeriko and when Zeriko needed him, because Bonehole was going through a lot and didn't want Zeriko to see him, being a mess. But Zeriko really needed a friend, and so that was something they just never talked about, because Bonehole didn't want to talk about what was going on, and so they have this unresolved conflict, and Bonehole's also just like, I don't know how to comfort Zeriko, like, I don't know how to do this. So Zeriko comes by crying, is crying outside their dorm room. They're in a dorm, by the way. Like, an interesting thing in 2016 that ended, that changed once I actually started concepting the comic, was they lived where they worked. Kind of like a headquarters. It was basically a headquarters. But again, I figured out their job was very low status. Why would they have that? And also, the way I was imagining in my head just didn't work. And we'll see the concepts in 2019 when we get there, if we get there, sort of thing. So that was a whole moment. So Zeriko just kind of sits outside, being upset. And eventually he just falls asleep out there. He just stayed out there because he didn't want to go and Bonehole seeing him being a mess, because they don't know how to be emotionally vulnerable with each other, basically. But he falls asleep and Bonehole picks him up and takes him back inside, which is like, oh, like, he does really care. He just doesn't know how to express it at that time. And that was like a whole thing, and so the conflict, and there was a whole thing too where Thunder was still a character in 2016. For those who don't know, Thunder was the main protagonist for a million years. She was basically me. Effectively, Bonehole and Zeriko, like, adopted her and, like, took her on their adventures, because she really needed to get out more. Like, I am projecting into this story. Which is interesting because I didn't really focus on Bonehelm and Zeriko kind of be adoptive dads. Like, that's a very new Skull and Pyro thing. Like, that's, like, recent. Like, we're gonna have a whole found family thing in the comic. Just you wait, it's gonna be great. This is kind of where it started. And I didn't have much plot after that. It was just kind of Bonehill and Zeriko's conflict, and basically Bonehill showing that he does care about Zeriko. That was really the whole thing about it. Which is sweet. But yeah, definitely different, because now in Skull and Pyro, they have a very comfortable established relationship, and the story tone has changed where there's other interesting thing going on. It's mostly external in how they react to it, sort of thing. Also them being the chaos and causing the problems. Alright, let's look at chat. He was the imposter. Well, Zeriko not being noticed no longer is a problem. Recent chapters are coming. Yeah, he kind of exploded the airport. He's doing great. Who doesn't project in those stories, to be honest? Yeah, I mean, I'm still projecting. As an Arrow-based person, I am horribly... Even my agender stuff is gonna come in, like... I am aggressively projecting. And always have. But yeah. So that was the thing. So let me get to 2017. The conflict, I think that 2016 conflict kind of dried off. I'm not sure when I decided, like, you know, I feel like Bonehill and Zeriko would have talked about this and actually discussed it. Like, I'm not sure if I want that to be the conflict. It doesn't feel right anymore. And so at some point that changed in 2017, and then we lose Thunder anyway. Then we get two other characters that you all have not met yet, but hopefully will. Figure it out. That just picked something off the counter. I'm not sure what I'm eating because it's crunchy and it shouldn't be. Where's this? Oh, it's like a bell pepper seed. I'm like, what? It looks like the cake batter. It's the same color as the cake batter. So I'm like, is this just a weird sprinkle? No, it's a bell pepper seed, but just fine. I love bell peppers, but I was just like, I feel like I picked up a forbidden object into my mouth, which is accurate for me. But yeah, so that was the theme of the story. And then so we get to 2017, the story kind of rebuilds its world lore. I don't think there's much to say about the story at this point. 2018, it more so solidifies a bit more. Again, Zeriko's taboo ancestry is kind of off. There's a completely different reason why he is, like, denied all the time to higher jobs, which we will get to, hopefully. Again, I am writing this story as I go. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to check my Discord DMs here. Alright. But I'm always curious about the webcomic style. Why Skull and Pyro? We're gonna get into that, because that is some lore stuff. Actually, I could probably just go into it now. It's not like I have to get there. Not the worst thing you could have eaten. I've eaten bird food once. I ate cat food out of my cat's bowl because I wanted to try it, so we are one and the same. We are eating questionable things. But Skull and Pyro, so it's called Brohemus the Thunder. And Thunder I kept, even though Thunder died as a character, like she just wasn't in the story. But there's like some video games where if you combine fire and ice, you get a thunder spell. Like I think Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, that's a thing. And then Garnet in Steven Universe, she can like manipulate lightning, because the hot and cold conductors are a thing, and she's made of fire and ice. I think, yeah. So I just kind of kept it, like, because, you know, it's Brohemus the Thunder. Keeping the Thunder title, because I was still, like, attached to it. And Brohemus, because I love the term. And it worked for them at the time. Me, starts identifying as non-binary and on the airway spectrum. My characters. Me, hi. Mood. I didn't read the food of bird food, so I was really worried. Oh, no. But yeah, so, so Skull and Pyro came in basically when I was, like, making the comic. I think it was when it was in 2019 when I got a bunch of my friends together who became my proofreaders. And I decided to give the comic the title Skull and Pyro. I don't know if it happened before I invited everyone or a little bit after, but Skull and Pyro actually came from Two Steps from Hell's song, Skulls and Trombones. Look it up. It's a beautiful song. If I could play copyrighted music, I would. It's so good, and it's literally what I think of as the theme music for Skull and Pyro. So Skulls and Trombones, Two Steps from Hell. It's amazing. But I saw that, I'm like, I just love how Skulls and Trombones sound. Like, that's just kind of just a fun title, and it might be referencing something else I'm just not sure of. But I just thought it was so fun. So I'm like, I want Skull, because Bonehill, his name is Bonehill, Skull, and then what? Like, I can't just say Skull and Trombone, like, I'm just stealing the title, and Zeriko's not a trombone. He would play brass, but that's not the point. And then I was like, well, how about Skull and then Pyro? Because Zeriko, I call him the sweetheart pyromaniac, and Skull and Pyro, it just sounded right. I'm like, Skull and Pyro, that just sounds good. It's just short and sweet, yes. I love it. So basically, once the comic was coming into its identity, I started it. It became Skull and Pyro. Just dropped the Thunder Child entirely. Now we are its own identity. Rainbow Nugget, I swear I need sleep. Rebel, you do, and I pray you get the best sleep after this. Two Steps from Hell, such a good artist. I know! Like that, Thomas Birkinson, oh my god, love their stuff. It's, so good. So many songs, I'm like, yes, this is the character's theme, I'm stealing it! But yeah, Skulls and Trombones, look it up, please. It's, oh my god, so good. But yeah, so that's a Skull